Well, welcome everybody. Today, I'll be showing you, like the title says, I'll be showing you how to make Sonic-like physics. Now, if you have been following my development on Battle Ready Robo Roller, and you thought that the physics in my game were really cool, and said, I want that. Well, stay tuned because I'll be showing you how to do it. Now, before I start, I should probably clarify some things. First of all, yes, this guy named Sazax, I believe, has already made a video similar to this just recently, where he showed off what his physics in his Sonic fan game are going to be, and they look fucking sick. Don't get me wrong, they are cool. Sonic's running on the walls and everything. The thing is, these physics aren't exactly Genesis-like, you know? They're more like Sonic before and after the sequel, which I completely vibe with. I mean, if the game is designed around it, I don't have no problem. But you want more Genesis-like controls? Yeah, then stay tuned. I got I got that in store. Also, you should probably already have some things already made. First off, the tile map and the collisions for it. I'll just show them right here. Give me a second. Yeah, you should already have your collisions made. Also, when you do them, you want to align them basically perfectly. Because if you don't, then you're going to have issues later on. I know I have. I know I have. But keep that in mind. Well, you should have your tile map and a basic player script. Well, I've already gone and edited a bit. You'll need it to have it a little more like this as a starting point. I'll just comment out this part for the meanwhile because we won't be using it for this first part. So, if you really don't care that much about how these physics work, there's a way to do that. You can just move around these sliders over here. Now you should probably already always, if you're gonna make something like this, you should probably put it at 89, at a max angle of 89, so that they can go up the slopes and all that. And a snap length of, let's say, 40. Also, you shouldn't have this turned on because it will make, well, it says on the tin, it makes him go faster when going down, makes him slower when going up, as it should. And it does, just not in the sense that we're looking for. It's pretty minor in the grand scheme of things if you aren't doing what we are going to do right now. But let's get started. So, we want to... hold on, where is it? Oh wait, yeah, I haven't edited this script that much. So what you're gonna want to do is make a version of this that checks if the character is on ground. And you'll see right away why that is. Now, we're gonna want to create a variable, and we should call it angle. Now, what I'm gonna do... Oh wait, I forgot to put the parentheses here. What we're gonna do is this. Angle will equal get floor angle. And if you want to put it right because for some reason Godot, when it with this function, it turns the angles in reds for some reason. What you should do is just grab this little equation I'll grab from my script from RoboRoller. Alright, I got it. And here we go. I hope that works. Haven't got any errors yet, so we'll continue. So, with this, we'll be checking the angle. And with this little equation right here, we'll actually get it in, degrees, as it should. Especially if you want to rotate the character. I won't tell you how to do that. It certainly took me a bit more after this to get it right. Just checking the script real quick. Yeah, you're gonna need that. Oh, and what the? Oh, yeah. Alright. So, we'll go down to where you move, and trust me, this will make more sense later. So, we're gonna go ahead and create the variable angular direction. And what will this do? Well, we'll get to it. That's what we're about to do. So you're gonna want to create two scenes. Well, you could technically do it with one. I prefer to do it with two. So let me just check real quick how I did this part. Yes. So so instead of creating, one of these, you're gonna head here and create an area 2D and put a collision shape on it. No, wait, no, not a collision shape, not a collision shape. A collision polygon. This will make more sense later. So, attach a script to this one. That's a given. And we're going to call this one... Hold on, let me check how I named it here. I just want to... Slope Angler. Slope Wrangler. And you want to create another one, another area 2D with a collision polygon. We'll do that right here. Where's the collision polygon? Where is it? Oh, here it is. And you want to call this one Slope Langler. Now, if you're keen, if you're paying attention, you can tell that this is for L and R, right and left. So one of these will go in the right ones, in the right slopes. Well, slopes that are facing right and slopes that are facing left, because Godot doesn't have a function for that. And I found this is the easiest way to do it, the simplest way to do it. So attach your script, and you're ready to go. Let me just name it Slope Wrangler. There we go. So let me just check the script again real quick. What the hell is this slope edger thing? Nothing to worry about. Something I ditched a while back. Right, so You wanna grab your area 2D and go to the node part. If my recording stuff lets me. It won't let me. Anyways, so you want to go here and ask if the body has entered. Connect this one, and this one. I think that's weird. Oh, I remember why I did that. All right. I'll just go back in here and I'll copy all this and I'll explain how it works. So, we first have to create our variable player. Now, you can tell that I don't have any groups whatsoever. And you're right. Just create a group real quick. It might. God damn it. Oh wait. Yeah, so my recording stuff ain't gonna let me show this. But what you want to do here is go into the player and go into groups and put it in the group. And the group can roll. Ah, damn it. God. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, sorry everyone for the mishap. I'll do it right now. So, you want to add? Let me just check what the. Yeah, we want to add a group called can roll and add the player, well, our character body 2D, onto it. Did I write it with? No, I write it with no caps, right? And with that, it should start working. As you can tell, since we already made the angular direction, it's going to turn it into 1. And if you probably know, then that means that this one's going to launch you to the right. And we do the opposite. Just let me finish part of this. Oh, I don't even have to look at the other code. Just very simple. Now all of the print one, you don't need to do it. Just here to guide you on these things, just to tell if it's working or not. But we do the same thing. Same thing here. We just create our variable player again, and create and go into the node signals. All right. Let me move this around real quick. And we put body entered and the body exited. And we just copy what we did here. And just change up the numbers. Instead of a 1, it's a -1. Ooh. Here, as always, it's a 0. Now, with this here, it should start to work. To my understanding, let me check real quick. Oh wait, not even in the right scene. Now, if you want it to be a bit more Sonic-like, you can implement this thing in Sonic where if you start going beyond your normal speed limit, then you don't gain speed, you just keep your speed. And to do that, it's actually very simple. So, I'll just grab the code from here, again, go into the player, and search for where we move. Here it is. And let me just change the variables so that they fit. Now, for this whole thing to work, you're gonna want to make your speed a variable instead of a constant, because you can't edit constants. So now what this will do is it'll check if, for some reason, the player is going beyond the normal speed cap, and it will just keep it. If it, you'll just keep the speed if it's going beyond it. Pretty cool stuff. I can't show it right now because of, you know, my recording stuff is just incredibly weird. But we'll continue because this only takes care of one part of the Sonic experience. Now, for one of the coolest parts of Sonic, slope jumping. Oh yeah, I forgot to say this. If you don't understand any of the explanations I'm giving, no, you know what? I'll leave it towards the end. Let's just get to it right now. So, slope jumping. You you probably know what it is. Is when you run up a slope in Sonic and you jump when in a slope. Let me just copy this whole part, and then I'll just change everything here because there's a lot of variables in this code right here that the player just doesn't need. So there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, let's eliminate this. This is just due to the game, some mechanics that are in my game. And let's just eliminate this and return it to normal. Yeah, pretty weird that I know it's pretty weird that I had to eliminate this if there wasn't even an if, but these two, we don't have them. And so, as you can tell, all of these have an error because I'm using skating speed and fixed angle. Now, there's a reason why. Because when you're not in the ground and stuff, things get weird. And it turns to 0. So what it's using here is a fixed form of the angle variable. We'll just create it real quick. So for this fixed variable angle, and just create the variable. Nothing new. We've already done this before. And we now create an if statement, which goes if angle does not equal 0, And then fixed angle will be equal to angle. And what this does is just circumvent the whole thing so that we don't have that problem. Now let's just fix this real quick. Hold on something. Something ain't right here. It's still giving me an error. Direction. Oh, oh, how could I have been so? I've been kind of been so stupid. It's really easy. The fix for this is just incredibly easy. Just drag this thing over here, and that should do it. And now when you jump up a slope, you jump higher, and if you jump when going down a slope, you jump lower. But if you know game development and stuff, you should probably already know that there's a problem here. When you run past a certain point, and your snap length isn't good enough, then you'll snap off. And we'll show you how to fix it. So let me just check the code real quick. I wouldn't want to give you guys the wrong way to do it. Because yeah, I have to admit, my script is real funky. Oh wait, it's not here. For snap length is over here. Right, so I'll just copy this part from here. And I'll just fix it over here. So before we do any of this, we're gonna have to create another variable. Yeah, I know. It's getting exhausting. So we create the variable floor snap length. I believe that is a variable. Let me just check. Wait, no, that isn't the variable, is it? Or no, come back real quick. Alright, so I've come back again. Turns out floor snap length isn't the variable. So I just set it here to 100 when you're in one of the anglers and when you're not jumping. So that should take care of things, I believe. Oh wait, and the last thing I should probably do is, well, you know when Sonic you fall down the slope and you keep your speed, you can transition your downward speed into forward speed or backward speed, however you want to see it. Remember that? Well, I got something for that too. Let me just check the code real quick. It'll be pretty simple, I believe. We'll just have to make a few more variables. I know. Yeah, I'm getting tired of these. I'll I'll tune back real quick. I can't read all this stuff. Right, everyone. So sorry about that. I had some troubleshooting behind the scenes. So it turns out this whole downrolling thing is one of the hardest things to get right. You can easily screw this one up if you're not careful. But don't worry. I think I've got it right. And I'll show you right now how it works. So, first of all, we have to create 3 variables and also fix the other ones. You have to put this one equals this 0, this one equals this 0, this one equals to 0, and create this variable called can downroll equal to false, a boolean variable. This one too, and equal to false, and store y. Now, considering if you've checked out my script, you can tell that there was a store x variable, and that one was used to store the modes, the mode switches and whatnot between dashing and all that stuff. And you'd normally think that this is also the case, but trust me, this one's completely necessary. So we go here, no, we go here, and we create this if statement to ask if velocity is higher, is velocity.y higher than 0. Now, normally, because the thing is in Godot, as you've already could tell from jump velocity, when you're going up, you actually use negative numbers. If you're going down, it's actually positive. Weird stuff. So, we store our velocity in the store y velocity, make can downroll true, and make downrolling true. Now, we have this, and we make another if statement here. Well, you can make it anywhere, but it's better if you do it here. If downrolling is equal to true, and he is on the floor, then it will start this timer right here that I've edited, and it will set downrolling the true to false. And once the timer stops, it will set can downroll to false. Now, while it's true, you get this. If it is, you get this if statement that says if it's on the floor, can downroll equals true, and it's in a slope basically. It'll graph your store y velocity divided by 54 because when I was testing it, it was incredibly powerful, and propel you in the direction as Sonic thus. Now I'll cut this part here. There's a lot to it, a whole lot more to this. I haven't even gotten to this, to running up slopes. But you know what? Thinking about it, there is one last thing that is very important to this. Rolling upwards on a slope. You know that the first part on Green Hill Zone, where you go up the first steep slope and you get thrown into a palm tree? Yeah, pretty cool stuff. And I got that too. Got that working. Let me just look for it, wherever it may be. Right, found it. I think. No, that's not it. Is it? Hold on. I'm gonna have to stop the recording again. Turns out I'm dumb. Because what the thing is, because as you know, when you run up a slope and that slope is on a wall, you can wall run. I was confusing all that, thinking this was the code for running up a wall, but it isn't. Turns out, yes, this is the code for the slope thing that I was just talking about with Green Hill Zone and whatnot. So basically, it asks if is on the left on a left slope, on a slope that throws you left. If the velocity is higher than 0, you can tweak this number if you want, if you don't like players just rocketing with no velocity at all. And, this whole equation stuff. This whole equation stuff equals this, which basically means if the angle is higher than 51, higher or equal to 51, then you'll get thrown off. And same here, just for the right slope. So with that done, I believe we can now go and implement these whole things. That just no. Let's just save all the scenes before we do anything rash. Save scene, the Wrangler. Save this scene as the Langler. I believe that ought to do it. I'll tell you after this step. So, what you want to do now is import a Langler and a Wrangler. Now, before we start doing stuff with these, you want to keep in mind that we haven't even made a shape for these. So, should probably get on that. So let's just make a simple rectangle shape. You want to add as many points as you want. I skipped these ones because, can be a little dumb at times. Don't worry. That no matter. We can do with this. And we build another little box here for the Wrangler. And you want to do this for a couple of reasons, because I tried it with collision boxes and collision shapes, normal collision shapes, and it just doesn't work as well, especially for slopes. And it also lets you adapt this little box to your slopes. That's what we're going to do right now. So, we have our little Wrangler, and then first of all, you probably want to set the children to editable so that you can, edit these things. Also, you should probably save so that these boxes appear. Yeah, there we go. So let me just check real quick. What is the coding for these ones? This one throws you right. All right. So we go back in here and we set this thing up to match the shape of our little ramp here. Let me just zoom in so I can get a better view. And that should do it. And you just keep doing this for all of them. I'll cut here. and I'll show you the finished product. Alright, so I finally got it working, but there is a few things I found that I didn't tell you of. I believe velocity has, when you're in the floor, velocity has to be set to 0 because, you know, when if you fall like this, you'd be sent to, well, God knows where. And most importantly of all, this. I'm befuddled. I forgot this. Add this beforehand, this if statement to. It's the same if statement from here to ask if the player, if the thing that is interacting with them is in the same group. I forgot to add it for some reason. Let me see what. So also you should probably set this one to 500 because as I looked into it, it's pretty weak as it is. So yeah, but without further ado, I'll show you how it looks. Right, so this is how it looks. So when we go like this, he starts sliding and he starts losing speed. For some reason he's jumped in there and just the whole thing with, you know, up rolling and that stuff. And if you do this, look at that. We got up here. And well, no, not all of these have their collisions put on. Only those three. But yeah, if we were to go up this one, we get sent up. Because, you know, that's how physics work and whatnot. And the whole thing with gravity and stuff works. So if I want to get higher, all I have to do is just start jumping over here, and then boom, look at that. And then we go over here and wow, so cool. So, as I was going to state earlier in the video, there will be a link in a comment I'll leave with timestamps if I can't get them on the video normally, and a link to this project, this little project here, so that you can tinker around with it. If I get enough people to, you know, tell me and whatnot, I'll make a second video with all of the other stuff I end up adding. Well, that'd be all, folks. See ya.